Ahoy there, mateys, and welcome to another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast. I'm your captain, Jimbob Ovalshorts, and as usual tonight, we've got all kinds of great things planned for you as we sail the seven seas of Clown World. And with me this evening, of course, we've got Luis over here. Luis, how you doing tonight, buddy? How's things up in the
Sorry,
big city? You
the
glitching
program
again on me?
froze.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
sorry.
here we go again. Yeah.
Sometimes there's signal loss with the main what?
Yeah. Here we go. Look, Bandit, I'm gonna need you to come in here, man, because Luis is glitching again and making me nervous.
I'm here, man.
How you doing this? Fantastic. Well, how are you doing this evening, bud?
Enemy bands identified.
I'm good.
Glad you could.
Good.
I'm glad you could join us this evening, man. We missed you last week. We had a fun time picking on you because you weren't here.
I'm used to it.
There were moments where it would have been great if you were present.
Oh,
this is true.
I can only imagine.
And that's just because you know how off the chain we get over here, just getting random with stuff. I mean, heck, the entire world's off the chain right now. If you really want to get into it, because I know that's what we're planning on getting into this evening.
It's a selection year. What do you expect?
Can we please start with that image of like this is just January? Remember the one in the chat? That one's hilarious. Can we just put that up? It's like this is just January.
I actually have that pulled up on my phone at the moment. I was just talking about that because the year is 2024. Texas leads the coalition of over 20 states who oppose the federal government. Taylor Swift is the biggest name in professional football. Ben Sharpio is the #1 rapper in the country, and it's only January. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And listen,
there's way more.
Has anybody suffered through that song?
No, I haven't seen it. I want to see it just because it's hilarious.
No. I'm not playing it. I'm not doing that to anybody.
No, you can't. You shouldn't play it anyway to not trigger stupid systems. But also, who the hell would trigger copyright for that thing? But
speaking of copyrights, real quick.
What you got?
Speaking of copyrights, real quick, on TikTok about
the
4
albums. I mean
getting muted
for. What is it? The whole. Oh my God, I forgot the name of the company. Yeah, they decided to take all the music out of their system.
Millions of videos are going to be muted. The music is going to be muted out of TikTok videos.
And it's because TikTok wants to be greedy. They're literally lowered the amount of money. They didn't go at the same level. They lowered the offer, and that's a power play that's going to go against them. I'm like, you depend on this music, but they're like, oh no, we'll just now amplify the other. That's TikTok's stance, which it is a power play. It's going to be in their favor. It's just the catalog is going to look weird. But as a company, they don't care. They know that the majority of the past catalog doesn't really matter. It's going to still show the song that was playing to a degree.
So you can just go pirate it.
I mean... Yeah.
What I'm saying is so all the data inside of their system. So when people go back, right, this is not YouTube to a degree. Okay. So it's not a big problem. And anybody that's actually creating informational content is not even using copyright music in the first place. So it doesn't really matter. So all of the meaningless content is going to be muted. All of the meaningful content of actual intrinsic value in relationship to intellect and discussion and all these things will stay up and relevant.
Okay, so when in the early days of TikTok, there was some trouble with a few sounds too, that they started muting the sounds. And there was several of my early videos that I actually went back and looked, and they had muted it because of the background sound that I had used. And Kel actually was able to somehow take the muted video, download it, and re-extract the sound out of it so that we could repost them, without the background music playing.
So the data was still inside of it. So
correct.
So literally, what they're doing is they're just muting the file.
Correct.
That's actually so fucking brilliant. That's actually
right.
Common practice, but it's actually such a simple idea. Well, always the audio file will be X. So in case muted, just literally disable expression of X. And then you do it mass.
But it's funny you're talking about like the copyright things, because I get those sometimes with some of the videos that I make for like Instagram or TikTok. And when I throw that same video on everything except Facebook, when I get it to Facebook's like, oh, it's muted in so many countries because there's no rights to this music or whatever. And it's just like, just recently, just when I shared a few minutes ago that I made was doing that. And of course, I think it's hilarious, especially when you're out here, dealing with Zuckerberg anyway. Because what was it you said earlier, Bandit, that is now in the news with Zuckerberg again?
He was in front of a congressional committee hearing, and they were ripping him for the amount of child exploitation on Instagram and Facebook. And I don't know if they made him or he just willingly stood up, turned around, and apologized to the families.
The congressman literally told him, get up and do it. He literally just ordered him to do it, and he just complied. I actually, that's one of the only, I don't know if you've seen him before, that is actually one of the only competent people in Congress in relation to technology.
Lindsey Graham?
No.
It's he's
Holly
from Arkansas. Yeah, he's the only one that's been actually capable of grilling Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, and Sundar Pichai, and Tim. Like, he was the only one ever to grill them at their level. Ever. There's been no other member of Congress capable of actually speaking to these people at their level. He's capable of doing it. So
the most
just weird he's from Arkansas.
Ironic thing.
But hey.
Yeah, it's Josh Hawley.
Yeah, he's the only competent person in technology in Congress.
The most ironic thing, though, was Lindsey Graham telling him that he had blood on his hands. The warmonger himself telling Zuckerberg he had blood on his hands.
I mean, he does, though.
Oh, I mean, Graham is
Myanmar. Let's just go with Myanmar.
But they both do. They both do.
Yes, they both do. They both are murderers. Yes. So this is how Mark Zuckerberg is indirectly associated with the deaths of over 50,000 people in the country of Myanmar. Facebook offers free internet access through the cell phones in Myanmar. Right. So in impoverished countries, what they consider low-income countries, they offer free Facebook. So when you get your cell phone, when you log into Facebook, all of the data that's consumed in the Facebook app is free. They pay for the data bandwidth of that service. What's the problem? Yep. This is why Ethiopian war happened as well. They were blaming Facebook. But so 600,000 people died because of Mark Zuckerberg in Ethiopia. Thanks, Mark. So what happens is
there's a genocide going on in Myanmar right now because of that.
The 60,000 that died, probably way more now, but exactly, the genocide started because since Facebook is basically backing the government with propaganda by allowing everybody to get free internet access, they are directly responsible for it because they just didn't have to pay for people's data. They could have just stopped subsidizing Facebook in Myanmar. That's all they needed to do. They should have analyzed, is this a regime that is utilizing our platform in order to basically push for a genocide?
Is this the Rohingya genocide that happened in Myanmar? Or is this another genocide?
Let's not forget that the rebels in Myanmar are putting up a hell of a fight too.
I just because I see that apparently there was a hell of a genocide in Myanmar in 2017, 2018.
And speaking of that, the rebels in Myanmar are using J-Stark's FCG-9 3D printed gun against the government.
That's a beautiful thing right there. Like
yes.
That in its own is a beautiful thing. I mean, shit.
You got to go for. I'm rooting for the underdog in that aspect.
Yeah, 100%. Like that. I mean, the sad thing is that a lot of these things that happen in a lot of these countries is fueled by both sides of our government. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many of these things that are going on over there that are literally their doings. I don't know. And then of course we've got all that nonsense going on down in Texas. I mean, what's not to love of what's going on in Texas?
So all I'll say with Texas is the government is doing somewhat the right thing. Somewhat.
Wait, you mean the moat with the crocodiles and stuff like that the Democrats was trying to present?
Remember when they were saying that Trump said that?
Yeah.
They actively said, people familiar with the matter, about Trump saying that wouldn't it be great if we just build a moat and put alligators or something?
Bruh.
It anytime you read the sentence, people familiar with the matter know that the next thing that coming from that journalist is a lie. Probably a very funny lie at that.
I mean,
they're not James O'Keefe. Wow, that guy. We're still in Texas, but wow, that what he just did was hilarious.
Well, I mean, it's just you've got all that going on down there, and I agree with Bandit with what we were talking about outside of the thing about it being kind of a bait tactic, but apparently now there's stuff popping up where what is it? Wagner's apparently sending aid to Texas.
Yes. And did you see my other post was Russia started printing Texas the Republic of Texas license plates.
Oh, that was Russia.
Yes. I'm pulling it up
okay,
now.
so people don't know this. I was explaining something recently. The reason Germany turned off all of their nuclear reactors and went green is Russian propaganda. So they started to study how in the hell did Germany turn off everything and went super green energy, and they have discovered that all of those initiatives come from Russia. It was all Russian money sponsoring it. So people don't get it. The Russians are behind the green movement. That's the crazy part.
Well, it's
Russians are behind climate change propaganda.
Well, because they know it. They know it's going to fail, and then in turn, they're going to have to resort back to natural gas and oil, which Russia has in abundance.
They want everybody to turn off their capabilities in order for them to absorb the market, the market errors. And actually, as a country, it is trolling and genius. The sad part is, why the hell did they have to mess with Ukraine? This whole situation's disgusting and terrible at the same time. It's why can't we achieve peace? And actually,
they don't want peace. Peace is not profitable. It's not. Peace is not profitable.
Well, I mean, I guess somebody's making some money since they're putting nukes back in not only the UK, but Russia's going to be putting them back in Cuba.
But did you see that clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson basically saying, "Oh yeah, modern nukes don't cause any radiation"?
I can't stand that guy. I think he's an idiot.
I can't stand that guy.
Not as much.
But I found it interesting. He basically was saying that it wouldn't do as much damage as people think it would. That was interesting. So if a nuke goes off, a modern day nuke, it wouldn't produce as much fallout.
I am pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure that Neil Tyson or whatever his name is
Neil
hangs out with he hangs out with Hunter Biden on the weekends and smokes a lot of crack to come up with all these ideas.
I hate that guy. Neil deGrasse Tyson is such an idiot.
Yeah, you would think a person with a PhD wouldn't say such ridiculously stupid things, yet he has.
Oh man, anytime I see him come up in my feed, like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or something like that, I'm just like skip. Like I can't, because I've even listened to other scientists be like, yeah, that dude's not, like, he's not a real scientist, bro. Like,
no, well, he really isn't. He's a communicator. He does have the degrees he studied, so he does the degrees, but he's mainly just good at speaking. And the reality is, well, many people in the field are not great communicators. The ones you hear about, the physicists you hear about, is because they're likable and can talk. Stephen Hawking, technically, according to everything I've learned, was always a dick. Like, the guy was genuinely a dick. He was
especially to midgets. Apparently, he was
evidently at Epstein's Island, and now we can talk also shit about it because Epstein's Island.
I mean, well, look at Carl Sagan.
No, Carl Sagan was evidently loved, but he was actually competent as a human being as well. He was extremely smart, but he was a communicator. But Neil deGrasse Tyson can't even hold a little lighter to his torch and greatness, because like, he even speaks about they met that, like, how, like, it basically, Carl Sagan was like a father figure to him, but at the same time Carl Sagan was like much more knowledgeable in just life, like the concept of life.
He was well-rounded in all aspects.
Yeah.
Fair.
And smoked a reefer every so often.
Hey.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that neither. I don't know, like him and you know that stand-up comedian that's parading around as a scientist too, Bill Nye, the science guy.
Who is not a scientist. He has he has he literally didn't study science. He studied acting and engineering.
Yep. Correct.
He didn't study science. Look, at the end of the day, he became a propagandist to a disgusting degree. That's why he is now so disgusting, is because he literally became a propagandist of the state to a really disgusting level.
And I see that Neil Tyson guy the same way or whatever, because like I've literally seen him propagating nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, whoa, dude, hold on a minute. Like, you need.
Have you seen him talking about the shots and how stupid he sounds when he speaks to anybody with some core competence? He basically gets destroyed every single time.
It's ridiculous. To be a pawn of the state. You know what I'm saying?
This is the thing. Are they really making that much money to sell their souls for? That's my bigger.
You think so? You think so, Bandit?
Yes, I'd absolutely.
Is your soul that cheap?
That would be the only reason you would sell your soul to that aspect, would be for a large sum of money.
But sometimes the sum of money is really bad.
Some people are cheaper than others.
Fair.
You know?
But there's a question, really, like, what is your number?
So
everybody has a number.
Everybody has a number. Jimbob, tell us a number.
A number?
If Mark Zuckerberg come up to you, it's like full sellout. What's the number? And you'll be like, full sellout.
I don't know. I guess you'd have to start approaching me with numbers. It'd have to
15 million?
It'd have to be way more than that, buddy.
200 million?
Keep going.
You can build trebuchet. You can build your own fucking fleet of trebuchets with 200 million.
Yeah, but I could do more with $1 billion. They've got
$1 billion can buy Jimbob shorts.
Nah,
$1 billion US dollars. I mean, it's gonna be worth 10 cents in a few years. Right,
exactly.
So.
I mean, then that's the point. See, that's why, like, in my head, like, I really, at the end of the day, no,
hyperinflation.
You could take it all from me, and I'm still gonna be just fine. So,
well, in that aspect, but look at it. Look at this. Look at it this way. Look at all your super rich elites and billionaires. Are any of them good people in general?
The great majority of them are not.
No.
See, I mean, they all had their price.
This is the thing. The reason I say that is because to get there, they had to do bad things. There was an interesting person I spoke to, and he told me,
"Is this like the Cat Williams things? They got to wear a dress."
Anybody over a net worth of 160 million is statistically crazy.
Yes.
Although that threshold number was very interesting. I told them, please send me the study where that came from, because I literally want to see what's their methodology to come to the conclusion that 160 million plus and you're psycho. Which is, it's a lot of things. You can think about it as when there is no concept of scarcity to you.
No.
How dangerous is that? Think about it. How many people do you know if they were given access to it all, how many would kill themselves? No, not kill themselves like by suicide. Kill themselves just by consumption.
Gluttony. Yeah.
Gluttony gets very sexy when you have access to it all. And that's why the majority of lottery winners lose everything.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected.
Like
the lottery is a curse.
Because they have no.
Okay, but I think this is a good time to think of a billionaire that's been in the news recently for all of the disgusting fucking things that he does and did.
Wait, which one?
To get to where he is today, Vince McMahon.
All of them are like that, though.
Vince McMahon? I mean, who the hell did not think that guy was dirty?
Right.
That guy looked dirty since I was a little kid.
You're right. Yep. It's never crossed my mind that he wasn't personally. Like, I've always viewed him as a villain, even outside of the idea from WWE and stuff.
He was telling you he was a villain. He literally told everybody the New World Order is coming. Like,
okay, but like, he's a guy that was somebody that I'm big wrestling fan. Hell, I got Undertaker symbol tattooed on my arm and stuff like that. I was always into wrestling. I was hardcore into it. I literally got up
as a kid.
I got up and walked out the night that they let Brock Lesnar take Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak. I was at a party with friends to watch that WrestleMania, and when Brock Lesnar pinned him, I walked out. I haven't looked back. Like, it's just not really any good. I totally go to like low level underground wrestling back here in the South. Like, I'll take you to some stuff when you come visit me.
Isn't that really the best?
Absolutely. These dudes are crazy violent. In fact, Rhino, the legendary ECW champion, is the current local champion of my area, because he showed back up to this area and did a very violent hardcore match and took the champion from the guy that was walking around the state claiming he was the hardest core guy there was. So, but stuff like that's cool or whatever. But like, okay, so Vince McMahon, you've heard different stories from people throughout different things. And there was things that I picked up on because I just noticed things, I guess, different, probably my level of autism. I don't understand. But like, because I see things different, I seen a long time ago, that he creates these names, he creates these characters. He owns these characters' likeness. He owns these characters' names. He owns everything about these characters. There's been lawsuits with Hulk Hogan and stuff to get his name and likeness and stuff back. And I started seeing an interesting trend when you go through the history of WWE about people that died under suspicious circumstances. But, then their name became gigantic, and Vince McMahon has made millions, if not billions of dollars off of their name and merchandise. We can go as far back as Owen Hart and that really weird cable thing.
And then we can come into account they were all juicing. And when you juice,
okay, but the juice has nothing to do with a cable breaking, and a cable that you've used for your entire career all of a sudden breaking and you plummeting to the ground and dying.
Well, if you've been using it for your whole career,
mechanical
failure occurs. But yes, you're right. You are right there. You can have
this is something that's checked. Like this is something that's checked. Other people were using it. He wasn't the only person that came in via a zip line.
No, you're right to suspect. I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right, and then his goes down, and then all right. There was a lot of weird stuff around Eddie Guerrero's death. Like everybody automatically wants to point to juicing and stuff like that, but his just seemed kind of odd. And I'm the kind of guy that digs into things and was along with that too. Like it just, things weren't adding up in the story of Eddie Guerrero. And, his best friend, who is kind of shunned in the industry because they think that he killed his wife and kids, Chris Benoit. And I think there's more to that story too, actually, because this is something that everybody just looks over and doesn't make a lick of sense to anybody when you bring it up to them. And it's the way that they found Chris Benoit. So those elliptical machines that have the bar that you pull down, that has like the weights on the wire. You pull it up and down behind you or whatever, or in front of you. Okay, so it had every ounce of weight plausible on it. It was extended all the way out and wrapped around his neck twice, and he hung himself. Bullshit. One human can't do that to themselves. And I think that his wife and kids came home and found him and found it happening, and whomever it was strangled them too.
That is
and this comes from
up.
Growing.
That is messed up. And it's like that. It's like the 2 shots to the head with your left hand,
right?
When you're right.
2 shots to the back of the head while you're on your knees.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
The Clinton special? And so Vince McMahon being such a big, powerful man, and all of a sudden coming out of all this disgusting shit that he was a part of, I don't put it past him to have had some hits on some of the people that he's worked with because of grudges and such like that. Because, you hear some of these stories from some of these other wrestlers, and I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts because I think they're cool, and I like to hear the old stories from the guys. Well, I like to hear the old stories from the guys because when I was a kid, we came up in that. Like, it wasn't anything for Jake the Snake to be hanging out at my house on the weekends, because Deep South Wrestling was one of the biggest branches in the state of Georgia that there was. And Road Dogg or Animal and Hawk came through here. They actually went to high school with my mom. There's pictures that exist of my mom when she dated Hawk and her best friend dated Animal. Jimmy Hart would be a part of the household and stuff like that. Like, these were regular people that I grew up actually seeing on a normal basis because they were just friends of my family. And then to keep up with wrestling for as long as I did, I like hearing the stories from the older wrestlers. So that's why I totally listen. The Undertaker's podcast is the main one I listen to, his and Stone Cold's. But like, they're really cool to hear all these behind the scenes stories that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And when you hear some of these other wrestlers talk, they talk about how much of an real life asshole Vince McMahon was. And then you see all this other stuff that's coming out now.
Accusations, they'll actually start talking because they don't care anymore? Or do you think because of the power of the system, they'll still be potentially exposed to libel?
Maybe.
Because according to libel law, if you're saying the truth, it's not libel.
Because a lot of wrestlers, especially a lot of the wrestlers that we all enjoyed growing up, have jumped ship and started a whole nother group.
Well, what's weird is I think The Rock is now going to be part owner of the W. Like, did you see that? That they are offering him a giant stake in the company. I think Vince McMahon is stepping out and Dwayne Johnson's stepping in. That could be that could be what's happening. It could be Dwayne Johnson to weaponize this into effect. It could be literally Dwayne Johnson's behind all of this. Which I'm like, okay.
Why not get Oprah's best friend to help him, weaponize this too?
Hey, at least it's not a white man. Yeah, I know Dwayne Johnson's not that. Didn't you say he was
garbage human
person in person? Didn't you say he's horrible in real? I've never met him or know anybody that met him, but
no,
you're saying he was.
And
terrible?
I think that he's got a glass jaw. I might be out of my league here, but
have you seen the horror stories of anybody who's worked on set with him in movies?
Yes.
He is a garbage human.
I used to live next door to a personal one of his personal assistants that he had when he was in the state filming.
Yeah, he is one of the worst people to work with in Hollywood, they say.
it's just, I mean, I'm glad that all this stuff's actually coming out because
it
now I
needs
don't look
to.
like so much of a crazy person. Now that I don't look like so much of a crazy person, when I'm like, ooh, you support that? You know, you support that celebrity? Like they're a garbage human being. People are like, no, they're not. They're so good. I'm just like, pfft. And now it's coming out like just left and right. Whether it's Cat Williams, whether it's people outing other celebrities for touching, or people on a random list of being on an island that they don't really belong on.
Yeah, what did they do on that island? What do you think they did on that island?
Did you see Oprah on The View trying to deflect, saying, "Oh, that was a fake list. My name was on a fake list." Not
That
Oprah.
was Whoopi Goldberg.
Wait.
Whoopi Goldberg said that.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious.
I mean, she's weird. Not sure if she's a kid diddler, but I'm sure she might have watched some weird stuff. I'm not sure she was touching, but she might have looked.
She was probably sitting there with old Stephen Hawking, watching the midgets go at it.
No, you never know.
There's better things to talk about.
Now we need to make an AI image of Whoopi Goldberg next to Stephen Hawking watching something.
Well, be careful, because isn't that guy going to jail for that AI image of Taylor Swift?
Oh my God, poor soul. That probably wasn't the one that did it in the first place, but
yeah,
the one that released
exactly.
He was a scapegoat.
Oh, poor kid.
100%.
Poor kid. I feel
Speaking of people going to jail for idiotic things, how about that dude in Tennessee that got caught with the illegal moonshine operation, but they only picked him up with like 60 quarts of moonshine?
Bro,
that's personal consumption, man.
Yeah.
60 quarts of moonshine.
Yeah.
That's
personal consumption.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean,
but
that's
seriously, no.
Quarts, that's what, 20 gallons?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. But seriously, though,
was he arrested or just fined?
Oh no, they arrested him.
What's the charges? Because what's the honest charges for that?
Oh, they didn't get their taxes.
Sure, but what's the charge? Just for basically 20 gallons.
You okay? I think we're all right.
Yeah.
We're all good. We're all here. We just had like a glitch in the matrix.
But seriously, though, we are still wasting resources on stuff like that.
All right. The stream is.
That is the most idiotic thing, man. We have bigger things to worry about.
Luis, are you okay? Is there an EMP happening in New York? Are you all right?
No, well, you see the lights are still on. If not, you would instantly see live feed cutting.
All right. There he goes. You are right, though, Bandit.
You know what? It's my.
Like population collapse. That's an actual thing.
Sorry, my computer's going on overdrive. Let me turn off something.
That's all right. That's an actual reality that people fail to, want to talk about, like, because not everybody, a good bit of people believe in the myth that the world is overpopulated, where no, like the whole world is on the verge of population collapse. Like, right, Luis? You know about this.
Well, there's a reason for that here in the U.S.
So the way you can look at it is this. We have consistently been able to out that ridiculous theory that was started by the population bomb book from the 70s that actually created this mass distortion of reality. So to the author of that book, which I forget your name because you should be forgettable, you garbage human being, eugenist shithead. The problem is you are already living in post-scarcity. Now, because the idea simply is if you can pay for it, you can access it. Almost anything imaginable, you can access it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We are there in several parts of the planet. But the problem is the distribution is purposefully distorted. Mm-hmm. Many more parts of the world would enrich themselves at an exponential rate if certain things would be turned off. The French government is one of the biggest contributors to poverty in Africa. So Just the French government,
and that's why
is complicit,
and that's why they started kicking
the 16 countries.
And that's why a few of them in Africa kicked the French out. Just recently, like last year.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah. So, is there any, I mean, clear, what is this? What did you send me? Sorry, I'm pulling it up.
Well, that's interesting from...
Richest 1% bag.
From... Published 16th of January. So, the richest 1% grabbed nearly two-thirds of all wealth, worth 42 trillion created since 2020. Almost 20 money report today. During the past year, the richest 1% captured around half of all wealth. Billionaires have been extraordinarily increasing their wealth during the pandemic. The cost of living crisis years since 2020, 26 trillion, 63% of all new wealth was captured by the richest 1%, while 37% went to the rest of the together. A billion gained roughly 1.7 million for every $1 global wealth earned by a person in the bottom 90%. Billionaire fortunes have increased by $2 billion a day. This has come in a top decade of history, and the number of wealth and billionaires have doubled over the past 10 years.
Have you
profits? The report shows 95% of energy corporations have doubled their profits in 2022. They have 306 billion in windfall profit, which paid out 257 billion, 87% of the rich shareholders. The Walton dynasty, which owns half of Walmart, received 8 over the last year.
I have a retort to that.
That's a little preview.
Can I have? I have a retort.
2020.
Yeah, I have a retort.
All right.
You know, they're all building those bunkers.
Yeah.
Failing to realize that none of that means anything when they have to seal themselves off in their bunkers.
Yeah.
And the one thing they fail to realize is that they leave all of the heavy equipment above ground that we can use to dig them out of those bunkers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one. That's definitely one. There are, or we could be filling them in with concrete.
The majority of the people that worked on those constructions will leak the data. The moment that they I assure you, all those people will release the entry data, the security information, and they will let them get in. What they fail to realize is
we're just going to start filling bunkers with concrete.
And the internet still works to a degree. They will reveal who the hell you are. Yeah, they can just do that.
You can't hide
put down
forever.
Like certain animals down, like the shoots.
You could lower me in there.
No, those people look. Oh God! How many hours would it take?
So what? Get in there, or just clear it out? You could lower me in there with a machete.
No,
that's all I would need.
To finish the job. Your special ops brain just goes on haywire.
You could lower me in there with a sharpened toothbrush, and that's it.
Now,
I mean,
we never like actually looked up all the 14 people. Can we look up who are the 14 people that were caught building bunkers? A lot of people have bunkers, by the way. In the 1960s and 1970s, a lot of people had bunkers. So this is not a new thing. This is old.
I want to let you know also, you need a building permit to put a bunker in your backyard, but you don't need a building permit to put a root cellar in your backyard. You can do with that info as you please.
Fuck them, that's why.
That's good info. So how many? I thought it was like 14 too. I'm looking right now though. How many? Now you were talking about the billion thing the other day or earlier. Have you seen where, while I'm pulling this up, where they refuse to call it $1 trillion and they're calling it 1,000 billion?
Okay, so in Spanish, I'll explain to you that. In Spanish, that's actually how you say it. So what you're looking at is a translation error.
Okay.
I'm serious. So in Spanish, you say 1,000 million for a billion, and you say 1,000 billion for a trillion. Now, it starts to break your brain.
15. There are 15 building.
Okay, so who are the 15?
All right.
Do the breakdown.
At least 15 billionaires. Let's see. Among the tech giants, Mark Zuckerberg, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, PayPal co-founder.
Jeff Bezos is building one.
Jeff Bezos is building one in Mexico, yeah.
PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel had that one years ago in New Zealand.
Yeah.
He's reportedly attempting to get a permit to build his own bunker, a new one in the South Island of New Zealand. Is what that's saying. Apparently Biden and his wife are on this list.
Well, it doesn't matter. All former presidential candidate or all former presidents and current presidents have bunkers.
Let's see. They got it. Like, they don't have them all listed in the same thing. I'm having to bounce around here. Like, they're just saying 15 billionaires. 15 billionaires.
They would actually do us a favor if they went ahead and sealed themselves up in those bunkers and never came out.
Right? I mean,
at the end of the day, they're not going to do it because nothing's going to happen of the scale that they suspect it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. There is a bigger fear of a solar flare probably than World War III, of a destructive version of World War III. World War III is happening. I mean,
yes,
that we get hot enough that they have to go into the bunkers is likely not going to happen. There's such a low probability of that. And I always tell people, it's like nuclear weapons actually have brought collective prosperity and peace to the world. And people don't understand why nuclear weapons have actually brought so much peace to Earth. Mm-hmm. Mutual assured destruction is extremely effective.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, it's the same theory of an armed society as a polite society.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a gun himself, but my grandfather, I remember telling him, it's like, if everybody in the room is armed, everybody's nice.
It's not the country.
Everybody is armed.
No, seriously,
he was a lawyer.
But in the same aspect, though, it's not the country with 100 nuclear weapons that you have to worry about. It's the country that gets one nuclear weapon and is not afraid to use it.
You mean my little buddy?
Kim Jong-un.
Or think about all of those. There is some truth to the matter that the movie Sum of All Fears brought up. It's that fact that somebody could find one of those missing nuclear weapons, or quote unquote missing nuclear weapons, and use it in such a way that somebody would blame a different country.
Yes, I wrote about that actually in a short story, that it was basically North Korea did a launch, and it's kind of an EMP attack. But the problem is it creates a cascade effect, and poof, everybody gets screwed.
They're launching all the time now.
In
so
2012, I wrote about basically North Korea starting like the complete annihilation of a big portion of the population through neutron bombs afterwards. And hopefully I'm completely wrong.
And North Korea is launching ballistic missiles all the time now.
it only takes them to get to orbit, and they can.
Mm-hmm.
They can only get to like Japanese orbit, likely. They probably can't go that far. But that's good enough to shut off Japan. Now,
Yep.
Japan is one of the only power grids on Earth that's grounded. Meaning, were an EMP attack occur, at least a portion of the system survives, which is very smart. The majority of the system won't, quote unquote.
Yeah, baby.
But it'll be structurally repairable, while the rest of the world doesn't have a system like that. And America has been heavily criticized because how cheap it is to ground the network. All they have to do is ground all main power stations in the US, which is, like, I think they said $10 billion to ground. Nothing in the scope of the insanity of spending that we are committing to.
10% of what we've sent to Ukraine so far.
I mean, do you know that all that money is just going in? It was to pay for old equipment that we were just selling to them and then pocketing all the money ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah,
even they're pocketing the money.
Somebody running into the room being like,
or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. Could shut the fuck up.
And then, they proceeded to tell him something stupid, and that's how we got to where we are. I'm not wrong.
I'm very hopeful for a future. It's not going to be as bad as people suspect.
Well, listen, I'm excited too because when, because they told me that I've always seen the thing where they say that the world war after this one will be fought with sticks and stones again. So we can trebuchet back out. We can bust the trebuchet back out and throw things at people from really far away.
That ridiculous trebuchet is outrageous.
It's amazing.
That clip they used their budget adequately. That is a good use of their budget.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bandit would be down to throw things with a trebuchet with me, and
absolutely.
I have access to a very large collection of refrigerators
or a catapult. None of the medieval artillery is regulated by the ATF. Not like I give a shit, but it's not regulated.
That's right.
So ballistas, catapults, trebuchets.
If we are trebucheting things to tyrants, what is the ATF?
Exactly.
Remember, the dissolving of governance will start with the agencies. The first things to fail will be the agencies because the bureaucrats will be scared shitless.
So theoretically, if a refrigerator filled with tons of serious putty, was flung with a trebuchet from a good trebuchet like the one we just witnessed in this video, at like the ATF headquarters, that would probably do the job. Like theoretically.
Wait. Did you guys remember when a plane flew into the IRS?
Yes. That was in Texas, wasn't it? Wasn't that in Texas?
Yes, it sure was.
I think it was in Dallas.
It sure was. It was Dallas,
Texas. I
remember
it was like, what the hell did I just see? Why is there a plane crashing into a building?
I mean,
and it's the IRS. Somebody had a weird feeling about it.
Yep. Sometimes reasonable men must do unreasonable things.
In Joseph Stack III was his name.
And speaking of reasonable men doing unreasonable things, it's the 20th anniversary this year.
Hooray! 20 years. That's pretty impressive.
Wait, 20 years since when? I'm sorry.
Killdozer.
Oh God.
June 4th. It was in June 4th, 2004 that Marvin Heemeyer drove his Komatsu 355A through Granby, Colorado.
Could you tell me, because I was just 17 or 18 at the time, could you tell me your experience when you were witnessing that? Because my experience of it was non-existent. I was just still in high school.
I was watching it from Iraq.
Holy shit. Thank you for your service, as I'm just in high school thinking, this war on terror is really stupid. At least I was on your side, even back then. I was
watching it. I was watching it from Iraq when it was happening, and here I am thinking, I'm in a war zone, and I'm like, hey, America, are you okay?
Right. Yeah.
It was wild, man. And that was wild. And this year is also right around, it was almost the same time frame. This year is the 20th anniversary of Dimebag Darrell getting killed on stage.
I remember that.
What's this about?
I remember where
he was the guitarist. Yeah, he was the guitarist for Pantera. And again, I was in Iraq when that happened.
I was on top of a movie theater in Conyers, Georgia, smoking a joint with the security officer, waiting for the last movie to finish playing so that I can leave for the night.
Sad thing about that, though, it was a Iraq veteran that walked up on stage and killed him.
Yep. I think that was some MK Ultra stuff, bro.
Oh,
and that's totally a good conspiracy theory. I would recommend everybody getting into
MK Ultra. I'm limited on time here. I want to mention it, but we can't go into it. But did you guys see that whole article about that dude, that kid who cut his dad's head off and then held it up on YouTube ranting about the political parties and stuff?
That's all over the internet. That's all over the internet. And I do question what he was actually saying. I mean, it does sound like just a retarded rant.
That has some serious MK Ultra vibes.
Totally has some MK Ultra vibes. Just like I was talking about this with my wife earlier. One of my favorite subjects to bring up is that hero Mark David Chapman that got rid of that terrible human being, John Lennon. I totally think there was some MK Ultra in there too, because the story behind it with the Jodie Foster impressing her stuff nonsense, like that's bullshit, bro.
They let him out of prison, didn't they?
They did. He's back in his hometown of, as far as I know, of Cobb County, Georgia, and
didn't they also let Hinckley out of prison, or was his parole denied?
I think his was denied. I may be wrong. I'll have to look. But I do know that Mark David Chapman's back in town. I'd like to just talk to him. I think it'd be an interesting conversation to have.
Mm-hmm.
I would just like to talk to him.
But he's not going to say anything worthwhile.
He's not going to.
That dude had a brain erase.
100%. But that's what I'm saying. You were right. They did let Hinckley out.
Oh, you'll never get anything out of him either.
And he's making music as well.
Yeah, you'll never get anything out of him.
And then again, that's the same with the guy the dude that shot Dimebag and everything like that. Like, I don't know, man. I think that there's more to it. Like, it's just never, like, even because his thing the official story was he was angry about him not Pantera not
leaving Pantera
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you kill him? Huh? Like, that sounds like some hypnotized MK Ultra type stuff. If I ain't heard some before, for what? Like,
well,
something's up.
But that's just that's the whole. I don't know how to say it, but that is how the CIA makes it appear that they are everywhere at the same time, when in reality they can't be, is because there's always that mysticism when something like that happens, that, it's the CIA. They make it seem like they can do stuff like that all the time, when in reality they can't. You know what I mean?
What do you think is the most effective strategy they have in order to distort people's perception of
I think that it's as easy. I think it's as easy as the television that you watch. I think
yes and no.
I think that it's so easy for them
I
to
think there's a
hide.
lot more to it than that.
But I'm saying though, like I think it's so easy for them to hide things within there, and then there's other places and other things, and there's ways to trigger the things that they have subconsciously hid, because it's been proven to be there for military recruitment. I can get into this whole subject onto why there's the big fad in America that there is recently, and I think it has a lot to do with television as well. Like, I think that there is. I guess I can't speak because I haven't truly watched TV the way that I guess I did when I was a kid and stuff in many, many years. I'm too busy producing a show and fucking off half the time. But it's. I think there's stuff hidden there, bro. Like, I really think there's stuff hidden there.
Oh, I am not discounting that as like, something that's really going on. I'm just saying it's about a 50-50 mix. There are some truly demented individuals out there, and then the other 50% is actually like your government sleeper agents.
Yes. To create a discourse of some kind, to a distraction, like old Teethy McHead or whatever being the face of the Super Bowl, like.
Jesus, dude.
Where? Okay, do you guys remember? Okay, so real quick on the Super Bowl garbage. So, did you guys see that screenshot of that TV broadcast that showcased the end of the Super Bowl?
When
is the Super Bowl? When is it?
It's not yet, but
I don't even remember.
I don't follow the officially now fake sport.
They posted that. They posted the teams that were playing in the Super Bowl before the playoff games had even finished.
So, yeah. Okay, so if this all pans out, right? Do you think it's people inside the NFL just basically screwing over the actual NFL? Because there was what was it, Tim Dillon's comedy show that one of them that somebody came out and said, yeah, the Super Bowl is rigged. It's a script.
It is.
Just like WWE is.
It is
the same.
It's been like that for a while.
I'm not disagreeing the high possibility at this point that it's essentially a system of money laundering through bets. Just like FIFA was manipulated by the Russian mafia forever, and probably still is.
Yes.
Because the French are very welcoming of Russian oligarch money.
Oh, dude, the French just bend over to Russia, like any Russian mob money, whatever. And if you look back far enough, the French were very welcoming of Nazi ideology when they rolled through France.
That came out like 2 months ago, almost.
Thursday, January 18th. This was on the news.
Yep. Playoff games hadn't even finished.
So if this happens,
San Francisco versus the 49ers, but right now it's the Chiefs, ain't it? So, it's changed up.
I think the Chiefs lost.
What team
did the Chiefs lose?
Okay, so what team?
Ain't that who Taylor Swift's boyfriend plays for?
Which team is the Taylor Swift?
The
kid?
Chiefs. The Chiefs.
Which are from, I don't know. Is that Kansas City?
Yeah, it's Kansas City. No. All right, it's the 49ers versus the Chiefs. So they changed the Ravens at the last minute. Because of this getting out, I guarantee.
Yes.
Wait, you didn't see the you guys didn't see the other one? There was another one.
Was there?
A Dave and Buster's. Look up Dave and Buster's leaks the Super Bowl.
All right. I'll
hear about that.
Yeah, it was a TikTok. Somebody was like, I wasn't a Dave and Buster's, and look at the poster.
Yeah.
It shows you who the teams are, and they're like, they haven't chosen the teams yet. So how the hell are they posting this? So the graphics department at Dave and Buster's that did the promotion put in the winning teams. Again, I don't know if it's Dave and Buster's trolling everybody. By the way, if this is a Dave and Buster's strategy for marketing, free marketing material just by faking that they're saying which by itself is a brilliant move, because what's going to happen? The Super Bowl, the NFL is going to sue them? No, nothing's going to happen. They're going to say there was a typo. Did you find it?
I did. I'm trying to find pictures with it.
Yeah, it's probably just a screenshot.
Because I mean, there's like a whole article about it, but it's a guy that they saying that the guy went to the bathroom, and that it's got this Baltimore versus San Francisco. Here,
there. So isn't that confirming? Okay, well, so the Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl. I wonder if the Chiefs will.
No, it is the Chiefs. I've got that pulled up right here, right now. It's the Chiefs versus the 49ers.
So wait, is it over? Is it going to be like that?
I mean, it's the Chiefs.
I have
versus
no
the
idea.
49ers.
I don't know.
I don't do sports ball, but I don't do sports ball. I've never been a bread and circus kind of guy, so I don't know. I just like to get on here and talk nonsense with my buddies. So
no, but and it's officially bread and circus. It truly is by its core a circus, because if you think about it, what is football? It's literally a bunch of men hitting each other. Exactly how it was back then.
Well, Bandit, I understand you got to swing on out of here this evening. You got a few things to finish up on, and we've covered a whole lot of ground tonight in a short amount of time, so probably ain't gonna run too much longer anyway.
Hey, so I'll keep everything else that I mentioned earlier. I'll keep that in the pocket for next time.
Yeah, keep it in. Maybe we can get into it next week. You got any final thoughts for us before you depart from us tonight? Uh-oh.
I don't, man. It's been good, man.
Well, fantastic. I appreciate you joining me, man. And I look forward to talking to you guys again, next week, of course. So I'll talk to you later in the group chat, man. You have a fantastic evening.
Oh yeah. Appreciate it, guys.
Good night, Bandit. And it has been an exciting, fast-paced evening, and I can't disagree with that. It's been pretty good. I was a little sad Neptune didn't send us our notes that we were discussing to talk about that stuff he wanted to, but heck, I think he's in New Jersey, bro. I think he's up there close to you. Right over the river, or whatever.
Why doesn't he come closer?
He's there.
I have met John before I've met you guys. Do you understand how ridiculous that is?
That is ridiculous. Let's see.
I've met the Canadian before I meet the Americans.
Yeah, it has disappearing.
Or is it because you are all agents of the system? And actually, Jimbob, he leaves this room, and then there's a whole office right behind him. His kids are just operatives.
Totally,
it's all an op.
They're all just playing Fortnite on the other side.
It's all an op, people. It's all an op. Right behind that door is an whole office space. Jimbob doesn't live here. That's just a set, people. This is just a set.
This is just my closet. This is just my closet underneath the stairs, like Harry Potter.
This is all a work of fiction, and anything we said is a work of fiction. Yeah, we are just blathering nonsense because fiction is funny.
It is.
So take no words we speak with any grain.
I mean, if you've been here for any amount of time, you guys know how completely nonsensical it can all be. And we covered a lot of ground this evening. There was a couple of good little conspiratorial points to get into, I think, with some MK Ultra and shady billionaire stuff. I encourage folks to look into some of these deaths we mentioned, and the MK Ultra stuff, and even looking into the opposite side of that Chris Benoit thing. I've looked into that for a while. There is some stuff out there, I was talking about, that just doesn't add up to official stories. And that's one of those things. I always encourage folks to go check out other ideas and see what the other side has to say about something, because you never know what you might learn. I like to do that. You'd be amazed at how polarizing the news truly is when you look at both sides of it. It's funny to see the same story told from different points of view, and it's just this stuff's ridiculous.
Ground news. Use Ground News.
Yeah.
Not sponsored. Like, it's just, they're at least tell you where it's coming from and where it's like leaning to a degree. So if you want to have at least an understanding of the slant.
Do you think, I mean, maybe, I guess maybe politicians should be out there wearing jackets like the NASCAR drivers with all their sponsors
100%.
Like that way we can see.
I believe Citizens United was one of the biggest, it was one of the biggest crimes the United States has ever committed against its own people.
Yes. 100%. Like that. Oh, 100%, dude. Like
those judges that voted for Citizens United should be immediately expelled. I don't know who they are, but they're all trash. And I definitely don't like the Paley white guy that was accused of the R word.
Oh, yeah.
The accusation evidently was completely false, but Paley white guy, he helped write the Patriot Act. So screw him. So that just by itself, you helped write the Patriot Act. What? By the way, the Patriot Act was written 4 years before 9/11.
Correct. Which also should draw some more suspicion.
4 years. 4 years. It was saved in somebody's little cubby. It's like, check this out. Boom. Let's turn this on.
Yep. It's almost
People
like they were
question it.
It's almost like they were planning it. Like,
so I remember, I wish I had a recording of it. It's a 4-hour speech from this telecom executive.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. It was this guy just breaking down the realities of the telecom industry and to so many levels. And one of the things he said was that the Patriot Act was written 4 years before it came out. Now, this telecom executive, it was a 4-hour PowerPoint. This is like dead serious stuff by like a high up telecom executive. I sent it to a friend of mine who was a telecom executive, and he found it insanely interesting. My friend was the president of a wireless company that sold for $200 million and then sold again for like $1 billion to AT&T. So my friend is a competent human being that understands the system. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Nothing. Well, I mean, we made the jokes the other night about you being the most interesting man in the world. I even made the meme because, like,
yeah, dude, that's so funny.
Luis be out here just rubbing elbows with some interesting folks for real all the time, coming back with stories for us. Telling you, like, I don't know how I don't know how you became, or like how you got younger. I guess that has to do with the most interesting man in the world thing. But like,
fasting.
Here you are. Oh, fasting, is that what it is? Like,
sugar is the devil, and fasting.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, I know. Now I just have to get the rest of the world to agree, and then the whole system will implode. That actually is hilarious. That's so funny. I saw it. I was just like dying. I was like, this is so funny.
I couldn't resist. It's just...
I need to upload a new picture.
You keep saying you need a new picture. I think it's about time for everybody to update the picture, even me. We've all... Those pictures are all a little old. I can use it to do some updating on some stuff. Speaking of some updating on some stuff, I'm gonna be working on the website this week, you guys. So y'all make sure y'all go hop on over to unconstitutionalawakening.com, where I'm gonna clean up the website a little bit, make things a little easier and user friendly. Just got to do some things with it, I guess. Of course, there's going to be, as usual, you can find all the links to the good things over there, including links to get back to all of our social medias, including links to get back to all of our friends in Liberty, and including links to get you some sweet UA merch. Like I've tried to keep all of that on there at least, and I'm going to update all of it. I'm telling you guys, you're going to be excited. I'm going to make it way more user friendly, even a little more mobile friendly, because I know it doesn't load very well. And old Neptune and his that's what his wife does, is she designs like websites and stuff, so she's going to be giving me a hand with some things. I'm giving her a login so that she can get in there and help me clean this thing up this week, so you guys can look forward to checking that out. Of course, we're definitely going to be back right here where we are this week, live again next week, same time, same bat channel, of course. Probably got some guest episodes as well coming up here soon. I've been talking to a handful of people that want to get back into the guest rotation. Don't know if I'm going to do those live. Those are a little more complicated. Probably just record those and put those out for you guys as normal. But we can't thank all of you enough for all the support you give us out here, man, across all the platforms that you guys are still watching. I've been checking. I've seen that my Rumble followers are growing weekly, and even Odyssey is starting to grow a little bit more. I guess more folks are starting to use it finally. And we're hit or miss everywhere else. I know Luis is doing a good job sharing us a little extra out there for all the folks that are on his feed. So hi, everybody on Luis's feed. And, you know, it's just great. We're going into our third year, and I think things just keep getting better. And we're just having more and more fun. And why not enjoy Clown World while we're here? So, Luis, you got anything for me tonight that you'd like to share with everybody before we get out of here?
We need to do better by understanding that we are all addicts.
Okay.
Of some kind. There is nobody that has ever watched this that is not addicted to something. They're just potentially unaware of the addiction they may have, be it your cell phone, be it a custom. There are good addictions and bad addictions. Let me not, there is a distinction to that, right?
Sure.
But all forms of addiction still pose a threat to your psyche in some way or form when it's taken away from you. So understanding to be able to cope with any loss is how you gain true liberty.
That's actually pretty beautiful, man. I can't disagree with any of that there. So, well, of course, you guys know I like to leave you with something funny before we get out of here. So, Luis, did you know that men are going to arrive into heaven 30 minutes earlier than women?
Why?
No, seriously, the Bible says it in Revelations 8:1. The seventh seal was broken, and for about a half an hour, there was silence in heaven. Good night, everyone.